was on silent.
Hello, welcome to Consume Content, where we help you find the best content to consume. I'm Matt, and that's Josh.
I'm Josh.
Today we will be discussing The Bear.
Oh, The Bear.
Which you haven't seen it, right?
No, I still haven't seen it. Looks
Which
like
is available on Hulu. I'm pretty sure exclusively on Hulu.
Yeah.
I think it's an original.
I think so too.
I guess I should double check before we...
I'm pretty sure it was on TV on FX, right? That's where I've seen ads for it.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you said it's on FX?
Yeah. I thought I first saw ads for it like on FX. I could be misremembering.
Well, I don't know about any TV transfer syndication.
Syndication, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't watch television.
I don't, because basically I don't think it was intended for cable. I'm pretty sure it was made. It was made recently in this last year, I think, or the year before, and it was made to put on streaming.
Yeah. When did Disney buy FX? I mean Fox.
That was a couple of years ago.
Was it 2019?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was 2019. I'm not going to fact check that. Yeah.
You're right. It is an FX show, so maybe it was on cable as well. But I only ever saw it on Hulu, and that's where I watched it. So yeah, it's on Hulu. And I'm going to tell Josh a little bit about it. If you want to join us in our discussion, maybe give us your thoughts on if you've seen the show, or maybe while you're hearing about it from us, if you have some thoughts you want to share with us, please join the discussion. We have a Discord server. It's called the Group Chat. As horrible a name as that is.
It's a horrible name. It's a horrible, horrible name.
But it's
sorry.
linked here. It's linked there. Wherever you're listening to this, you'll find a link. Go find it. And then make fun of us.
Yeah, it was a spur of the moment decision. I was
No,
tired.
I like it. No. It makes sense. You know, it's a cute idea in practice. Not in theory, but in practice, it just seems a little vague.
It's a little vague and generic. We'll fix it later. I don't know.
But no, well, we can't. We're doing. It's 16 episodes now where we've called it the Group Chat.
It's okay. It's okay.
Maybe it'll be called something else in the future.
We can always
But
change it.
please join the discussion. Let us know what you think. Because I quite like the show. It was something new. It's certainly been done before, but it took a few different turns. It's not turns, but just overall it was a little refreshing. Mm-hmm. It's an intense drama, and it's about this guy, this chef, Carmy. I think Carmen or Carmine, but they call him Carmy. He's the youngest in this family of 5, so he's got a brother and a sister. He starts off, and he is a professional chef, like world-class chef. Apparently, you learn over time, he's won several awards. He's the youngest up-and-coming professional gourmet chef. And you find all this later because it just throws you in. The first episode just throws you in. The thing is, despite all these accolades he's obtained and all of his training and experience, he has inherited his brother's sandwich shop in Chicago, in kind of like rundown Chicago, working class Chicago area, kind of, you know. It's just the people's sandwiches. Mm-hmm. I think it's been some old family. It's called The Beef in Chicago or something. Like it's I guess I never really nailed down exactly the kind of food they have, but it's kind of like Philly cheesesteaks, but you know, whatever Chicago has.
Yeah. Why is it called The Bear if the restaurant's called The Beef?
Was that your assumption the whole time?
Yeah, I thought the restaurant was the Bear.
Wait. Okay, tell me before I tell you. Tell me, what did you think the Bear was? Like,
I've seen the trailers. To the name. I really enjoyed the trailers. They're full of anxiety, right? I love
Yes, that's a big part of it.
I love cooking shows. I love the Food Network. Well, I used to, but I loved Anthony Bourdain. So like
Hmm.
that Kitchen Confidential stuff, love it. Absolutely love it. Right? I can't do
Right, but
most of it. Like it's like professional athletes, right? The same reason people watch like pro athletes and pro gamers and pro artisans and whatnot. Just like there's so much skill and so much knowledge and so much craft into it, you know. And then this show, it's funny you say that like it's been done before. I'm like I don't remember other shows. I think I vaguely remember one show that like was a rom com that took place in a restaurant, right? But I don't think I don't remember a show that was so focused on the craft, like the narrative weaved into like the craft of cooking professionally.
yeah.
And then
Hmm.
I knew certain details like he inherited the shop, right? And I think I did know it was called The Beef, but I'm perplexed as to why it's called The Beef and the show's called The Bear.
I'm assuming that's not a real place. The beef was
Mm-hmm.
completely
Made up.
fiction. They
Yeah.
just came up with that, but it seems so simple.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no. I'm reading the Wikipedia page. The sandwich shop interior is copied from the real live Chicago shop Mr. Beef on Orleans in River
Okay.
North. So I think it does kind of it takes a little bit of inspiration from an actual
From an actual restaurant.
shop
That makes
in
a lot of sense.
Chicago.
That makes a lot of
And
sense.
also I'm seeing I guess it's formerly known as an Italian beef sandwich shop. So that's specifically what they
Oh.
focus on.
Italian beef
And
sandwiches. Okay.
yeah, which I didn't know that was a thing. I've had Italian like
Yeah.
sandwiches like, with
Yeah.
sliced cured meats, pastrami's and
Yeah.
like different kinds of pork and beef, and
Well, this
I've
is
got a
this.
really
Yeah.
there's a good sandwich place around me. I'll take you to.
Oh
Very
man.
good Italian. But yeah, no. So you
Mm.
you had no idea what reference the name the bear has to
Yeah.
the show, right?
Yeah. What does that mean?
The family,
Uh huh.
so Carmi and his brother and sister, their family name is Berzado. So because of their name,
Uh huh.
some people call the main guy Carmi the bear. He's just the
He's
bear
the
because
bear.
his
Okay.
yeah, and it seems kind of like just a family nickname, and some
Mm-hmm.
other like family friends call him that occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's where the bear comes from. And there are some visual metaphors. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just a couple times, but they show him in a dream sequence in the first episode. He's like facing a bear in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
So like this idea of the bear, they use it as some metaphor for his stress, for like the challenges he's facing, maybe as the family bear, like him taking on this challenge of running this sandwich
Yeah.
shop. But yeah, the
The
show
reputation.
is yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it. Like I said, it's a drama,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to the family stuff in the restaurant, yeah, I'm assuming the bear, it's interesting. Yeah, you don't really think about it too much as you go into it, but you hear the name occasionally, you're like, okay, the bear. It doesn't really go
That's good.
beyond that. Maybe there is something deeper, but ultimately,
Mm-hmm.
they do focus on the food a lot.
That's
Because yeah,
good.
I never really thought about it, but I like that premise. This
Mm-hmm.
world class chef comes home and has to run his family's failing Italian sandwich shop
Mm-hmm. In Chicago.
in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yeah,
Why
which
why doesn't Italian sandwiches in Chicago make sense to me? That should make sense, right?
well, I mean, it's a big city. I'm
It's a big
assuming
city.
there's a decent amount of like Italian heritage there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it seems popular because so when you first start out, the first episode,
Mm-hmm.
he has been home for a couple weeks now. He has taken ownership and has been working in the sandwich shop for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But all he's accomplished, it seems, is at least know his way around the kitchen.
Yeah.
His family's owned this sandwich shop, I think, his whole life, but he wasn't involved too much. It was mostly his brother's thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a very rough start. Even though he's been there a couple weeks, it's like he has no flow. He has really no say. He just shows up and he tries to do his own thing, and the shop is drowning in debt.
Mm-hmm.
They've got health code problems. They have some consistent customers, but really it's a dying business. You can tell.
Is his brother dead? The one who owned the shop? Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's a big part of the story as well. It's him coming to terms with that. It's not necessarily that him and his brother were so close. I think it's just that his brother was such a big part of the family.
Yeah.
And he would they don't really mention the parents. I don't think the parents are around, so maybe they were out of the picture. But the brother was
the patriarch. And so
it seems so, yeah.
So with ownership of the restaurant comes the responsibilities of leadership of the family.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's well, there's no. That's the thing. The family, as far as you see, in terms of actual blood family, is just him and his sister.
Yeah.
And his sister is completely hands off. She does own half the sandwich shop with him because she co-signed with the older brother.
Yeah.
But she really just runs it in name only, and I think she helps with the financial stuff. That's about it. Okay. She wants to be involved. With her brother at least, but there's a lot of conflict there too. The main guy, Carmi.
Yeah.
He seems like a very repressed, kind of quiet guy.
Yeah.
He's not that he's shy. He seems in terms of like social social interaction, even with his own family. He's just kind of the quiet guy. He sits in the back. He was the youngest kid. He's kind of the little brother. And so, yeah, he does kind of take on this role. It's a change. That's a big source of contention here because he is now supposed to be the owner of the sandwich shop. But this shop has its own rhythm. All the people there, the employees, there's only a handful of them. He knows them all, but they've never worked for him. He's always just been the owner's brother, Mikey's brother.
Yeah.
But there is this one guy, this other character. He calls him cousin all the time. Richie.
Is he the guy in the blue shirt that's always yelling at him in the trailers?
I'm guessing, yeah. He's the tall guy. He was actually one of the actors in Andor.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, okay, so it is the guy I'm thinking of.
It is that guy. And so what happens is he is basically, you can think of him as the manager of the shop.
Yeah.
Because he has no ownership in it at all. Full ownership went to the guy, to Carmi and his sister. But this other guy who's been running the shop for years with the older brother, he's just there, and that's kind of the first obstacle to overcome.
Yeah.
This cousin who he's called cousin is just there to stand in Carmi's way as Carmi tries to bring the level of this kitchen up a notch, up to his standard, or at least to some kind of successful point.
Yeah. And
so this other guy, the manager, he's just there to say, and the show is so vulgar, not to like an extreme degree, but it's just an Italian sandwich shop in deep Chicago.
Of course,
it's like you're gonna see a lot of that.
Yeah.
So he's just like, we got a fucking system. You make the spaghetti, people buy the spaghetti, and then Carmi's like, it doesn't make sense. It's not cost effective. We don't need the spaghetti. There's a whole thing.
Almost pulled the wire there. Yep.
Pull it.
No, I can't pull this wire. All my audio would be gone. No,
pull it.
But yeah, I think I've seen that clip in one of the trailers. And so, because the show was promoted pretty heavily on Instagram, and it looked really good.
And it is definitely. I definitely recommend it, and it's not too long. The episodes I think it's got to be like 44 minutes. It's like basically hour-long episodes. There's only 8 though, and we flew through them because it was just really good. You get really invested right away, and you think that the show is complex, and it is emotionally, but what's so great about it is with all of the intense interactions and relationships he has with all the characters in the kitchen and his family, you always have this constant indicator. Is the kitchen gonna shut down? Is the sandwich shop going to be successful? And it's interesting, you kind of lose track of that because you stay for the sandwich shop. You want to see them succeed because they, like you said, they really focus on the food, and they take every opportunity they can to showcase really great food and just the chef the technical part of it, the actual end result, just it looks delicious, it looks so good, and you think, wow, I really want this place to do well. That food looks so good, he really knows what he's doing, you're rooting for him, but you honestly lose track of that because you get so invested in the character stories. It's kind of a little bit of figuring out what the deal was with the older brother, because you don't know much about him as you go through the season. But then, yeah, it's just all these other characters pop up. The other chefs in the kitchen. There's this one guy who is the baker, and at the sandwich shop, the only thing he had to do to begin with was just make the buns for the sandwiches, the rolls. And eventually, because Carmi comes in and he's got all these resources, this knowledge, he brings in a couple of books from when he was learning, and the baker, who's just completely unaware, sees a lot of this like technique and all this art that people have used for these incredible cooks, these bakes. He starts mad sciencing in the kitchen because he does his job. He bakes all the bread, which you have to do way ahead of time. So honestly, he does his role. It's interesting because you learn a lot about how just
how a kitchen works.
Downtown, well, specifically a sandwich shop runs, because
where they make their own bread.
They make the bread ahead of time, obviously, and then that guy, if he's not doing something else, he does whatever. I guess he preps the dough for the next day. But yeah, he ends up with a lot of time, so he starts experimenting, and he eventually he makes a cake, a really good looking chocolate cake that they start to sell at the restaurant too. And that's another thing. It's like just Carmi being there. He didn't even push this baker guy to do better. He was just wanted him to be solid, gave him some tips on making the bread better, but just by virtue of him being there and having this experience, this baker guy, he started expanding. He started learning just because he wanted to. He realized there was more he could do. Ask me some more questions.
Well, like, how much more can I ask? Because now
now you just want to eat.
Now I just want to eat. Now I just want to watch the show, right? Because from what I'm gathering and what I've gathered from sort of the trailers, that it's an uplifting show, but it requires, like, the characters have to go through, like, sort of immense emotional change in order to, or like emotional struggle or arguments before they get to that better place. Like, it's not like a like I'm watching New Girl right now. I just told you I'm watching New Girl. So, like, shenanigans occur, right?
Oh, and no, they're almost identical emotionally to New Girl.
Well, what I'm saying is, right, the difference is with like a sitcom, right, is that there's usually a conflict, there's a problem, and then the problem gets resolved and everybody's happy again by the end of it, right? But it's a sitcom, so just like start happy, there's a dip in happiness because of conflict, they get over it, and then they're friends again, right? And the Bear, I feel like I'm going over like the Bear basics right now, but it's not every day or it's not every show, even like the dramatic shows, right, where it looks like people are working through shit, Like, I've watched a bit of The Sopranos. I don't think Tony Soprano ever really solved his anxiety. I think it's just sort of a constant thing. Like, in case you've never seen The Sopranos, the whole premise is that Tony Soprano is a mob boss who has panic attacks and passes out due to his panic attacks. That's the actual premise of The Sopranos. It's not like The Godfather.
I've actually never seen it, so maybe you should sell The Sopranos to me.
Well, that's what it is, right? It's at the beginning, at least. It's a postmodern American crime story, right? Crime family story, where similar to how The Godfather was a portrait of the American crime family, or just an Italian family that happened to be in a crime. The Sopranos is a modern day portrait of what that is, right? At least to a certain extent. I could not, for the life of me, keep watching that show because some of the characters are so fucking annoying and despicable. I'm not talking about Uncle Junior or any of the other mobsters. I'm talking about Tony Soprano's mother and sister, who are not criminals. His closest relatives were more annoying and more evil and devious and manipulative than any sort of mobster I'd seen him come across, right? His uncle was, his uncle was his uncle, which was, again, was just another mobster, and that was the thing, right? But his mother and his sister were possibly the most stress-inducing part of that show, as far as I watched, But they never resolved anything, I don't think, right? These characters sort of have to continue in a long-form drama. A lot of these characters have to remain problems, So, like, I don't think even in dramatic shows things change all that much. But based on what you're telling me, like, the point of the bear is that change is here. Like, just by, like you're saying, by the character's presence in that shop, the restaurant will change, and these people will change because their environment has changed, and hopefully it's for the better. And you don't know if the restaurant is gonna succeed despite these changes.
And that's a big part of it. Is Carmi comes in, and obviously he has agreed to take over the sandwich shop, but by the first episode, a couple weeks in, it doesn't seem that any change has been made.
Yeah.
Carmi has only tried to change himself and fit what he does into this kitchen, and from that point on, the rest of the season as follows, he then starts to change others. Yeah. He does take the lead, and that is part of it, but somehow it just got so tense, because it's a lot like what you're saying. The sitcom is just happy family, happy roommates, happy-go-lucky. A problem occurs, they resolve it, everyone's happy again. And I guess that's really the difference between a comedy and a drama, at least in today's terms. This is just at such a larger scale. The stakes are so much higher that you become more invested in it. And then hopefully you see the resolution, but you get that much more of a payoff because you have paid that much more emotionally, and you are rewarded with, a resolution if there is one.
If there is one. Emotionally.
We're not talking Black Mirror here.
No. But like,
maybe we are.
No, we're not. I've yet to see a full episode of Black Mirror.
I don't think you could handle it.
I can't. I've tried. I can't handle it. I will not be sold on Black Mirror. I know what it is. I think I've seen most of the Pig Prime Minister episode. That's all I think that's the most.
Yeah, but that's
I've
the
seen.
First one.
Yeah, that's the first one.
And that one's not so bad.
No, it's not. I tried to watch other ones. I can't do it.
There is that one episode that won like an Emmy, I think. It's the only one with a happy ending.
Oh boy. I don't know. I can't. But anyway, have you seen Succession?
No.
No.
Keep hearing about it.
Okay, so I've seen a few episodes of Succession, right? So I'm curious, because like, are the characters good people? That's what I want to know. Because in Succession, none of them are good people.
Yeah,
none of them are good people. It's the show is so emotionally driven, though. Like, even in the filmmaking, I saw in a behind the scenes thing where what they do is they tell all the actors that they're shooting wide all the time, and so anything they do could be in the final cut. So like, when something cringy's happening to one character, you have to watch the other characters react to it, and that somehow triggers your own empathy as a viewer. So then you feel what everyone else is feeling. You feel like you're in the room, and it's horrible.
That's probably, at any time you have a list of shows that are being talked about around you, and you put it on your list like, oh, I should check that out.
Yeah.
Succession's probably at the top of mine. That's the one I've heard the most about, and I just haven't had the chance to watch it yet. Yeah. But I've heard the most about it. I've heard good things. So yeah, I do have to watch Succession. Yeah.
But I'm wondering, are the characters in The Bear, are they good people? Are they good people?
Yeah, I think for the most part, it seems like they're trying not to be, or like the storytellers, the filmmakers are trying to make them out not to be. Some of them are pretty basic. It's just staff at the kitchen. They're just trying to get by. They're basically family. They've been with this sandwich shop for years, and they're just goofy characters. They're kind of out there, but they do their job, and they exist to add a little color diversity to the story. But yeah, the main characters, for the I would say morally they are good. They're all good, but they do such a good job of hiding that. Some of them, especially the main characters, where Carmi is just Carmi, he's just trying to do his thing. He just has his struggles. But yeah, like the cousin, I guess it's mostly coming from the cousin, but also from this guy who just shows up, and he's like a family friend, a guy that everyone knows. He just shows up and says, "Hey, I loaned your brother $300,000. I know your restaurant is failing, but I gotta get paid. You gotta pay me at some point."
Oh boy.
And it's just, and yeah, that hits you. They throw things at you like that, and it's like, basically they will throw something like, "You need to pay me $300,000 right after the kitchen just finished lighting on fire." Like they just put out the entire kitchen, and it's just they hit you one right after the other, and they build up that sense of dread. It can be kind of heavy, but again, they distract you with the characters, and you just keep rooting for them because you want to see them succeed through that adversity.
Okay.
So yeah, there are a couple characters who are just suck. I would say they suck, but everyone pretty much is good. They have good intentions. They can be shitty people sometimes, but ultimately, they're just people getting by.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a cat. It's very interesting that you say like, oh, this like debt collector shows up right after the kitchen caught fire, because from what I've seen of Succession, which is not much, I will say, it's pretty much exactly what happens. Like, it's one bad thing after another, where the guy, he thinks he's on a high because he's gonna like inherit the company. Then he finds out he's not gonna inherit the company, and then as soon as that happens, he finds out the company is actually in like crippling. Like, if the stock goes down, like if he takes on the company, if he becomes the new owner of the company, then the stock goes down, and then the company has to pay out this massive debt it owes to another corporation or to a bank or whatever. And then it just like one thing right after another. And then by the end of the episode, one of the main characters whose problem this was thinks he resolved it. Like, he thinks like, I did it. And then they just throw two hints at you that show he's completely fucked himself. Like, they don't even tell you exactly what it is. Like, his father just goes, "You fucking idiot," and says, and like passes out in a coma. And then you see two characters who shouldn't be sitting next to each other conniving in the background, and you're like, fuck. And the guy who you're rooting for isn't even that nice. He's not like, you just know he's like a recovering drug addict, and he's trying to pull his life back together, but you know that like he's still a shitty person. Like, he's not great, and you're just like, why do I care? Like, it's pretty good, but it's so stressful. I'm wondering if the Bear is also super stressful to watch.
Yeah, it is. It can be, and I think they do that by just dialing up the external conflicts. The problems that the characters face in the kitchen, as opposed to like just problems with other people coming to them and causing problems. Well, I don't know. There is a lot of internal struggle, because there is this one girl who shows up at the kitchen, and she's actually also a really well-trained chef, like a high-end chef. And she only shows up because she knows who Carmi is. She knows, I mean, he's pretty well known, even though he's not at a really big kitchen.
Yeah.
She's also made some mistakes in her life, and so even though she's really well trained, she says, "Yeah, no, I want to work with you. I know that you're really good. We can make something out of this." And then all of the other staff see this, and they're like, "Why is she getting put in charge? Why is she getting all the favor?" But it's like, because she knows exactly what
Carmi wants,
the owner wants, what the head chef, And so there's a lot of struggle there, and it's pretty interesting to watch, because the characters are really well written. It seems like you really feel for them and you get to know them, and that's definitely enjoyable.
That's good. This fucking cat.
I don't know. They found a niche, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's a great niche. It's a super popular. Hold on, I need to let this cat out. Jesus Christ.
Josh leaves the desk disheveled in his rush to appease his feline overlord. Did you see him kiss it when he sent it out? Oh,
all right, I'm back. So, like cooking is a huge niche to get into. Like I've seen, there's always the like what.
It's so universal though. Watching it at least, you can. Not everyone in the world, but hardly anyone in the world is gonna eat the kind of food that they're cooking that he cooked as a professional chef. But anybody can watch it, and I think everyone loves to watch good food be cooked because you can just watch it. It's on a TV show.
It's great. I don't know like what my mother watches these videos where there's a couple
Please
YouTubers.
don't tell me your mom is watching mukbangs.
No, my mother's not watching mukbangs. That sounds horrible. That's out of context. That sounds horrible. What is wrong with you?
It's just people eating, but I don't want to know that your mom watches them.
What a horrible word. In English. What a horrible word.
What do you mean? That's the word.
It is the word, but it's not an English word. It just sounds horrible in English. Anyway.
It's still what it is.
God. Anyway. Ugh. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, she watches
your mom watches.
She does not watch mukbang. She watches these.
No.
Ugh, it sounds so gross. Anyway, there's these YouTubers, these YouTuber chefs, right? That they make recipes from like the 1700s, right? They make like old timey recipes, and then like they dress up as old timey people. Like, I'm dressed as a pilgrim. I don't know if that's in good taste, but it's
mukbang with cosplay.
It's not mukbang. They're not eating it. They're cooking.
Well, they gotta take a bite of it, right?
They take a bite, but that's not what mukbang is. Jesus Christ. Mukbang is just the eating. Oh.
Yeah, God. And then they grab 10 times the food they just made, and they have a tiny Asian girl eat all of it.
Yeah, so that's not it. They don't have a tiny Asian girl dressed as a pilgrim eating flavorless pies. Oh, my God.
There's a crowd for it. There's an audience for everything.
God. Why are you going to make this weird? Anyway.
Your mom's the one watching mukbang.
She's not watching mukbang. Jesus Christ. What's wrong with you? Anyway. So, it's a good niche. It's a good niche to get into. Have you seen any of Anthony Bourdain's travel shows?
Just in passing. I don't think I've sat down and watched a whole episode.
A lot of his shows were really good, really entertaining to watch. Partly because of him, and then
there's a whole TV network dedicated to it, Food Network.
Well, no, he was on the Travel Channel. He wasn't on Food Network.
That's basically the same thing as.
It's
Food
not the
Network.
same thing because his whole point was that he was talking about cuisine around the world, and he would travel to different places. Like he sat down with Obama in a Vietnamese restaurant, and and they sat on little tiny chairs, and then the fucking restaurant put that table and those chairs behind glass, because they're like, Obama sat here anyway.
Obama. Fuck Anthony Bourdain. It's Obama.
And Anthony Bourdain and Obama. More importantly, Obama. Anyway, but
I would advertise that.
But like Anthony Bourdain, it was the guy who blew the lid off of that sort of thing with his book Kitchen Confidential. And then he even in an interview clip I saw, he was talking about how he fucked up his entire life. Like, as he put it, he was over 40 still dunking fries in a fryer, and he had one book. He had his book was about to come out, and he was just a complete loser. He lost everything, and he had already been a head chef at all these places and lost everything, and had his rise and fall and everything. And then his book got famous, and then they told him, "Hey, do you want to travel and eat food?" He's like, "Yeah, I'd rather do that. Yeah, perfect, because I fucked everything else up." And so it's sort of like Anthony Bourdain talked about how that whole culture of cooks and chefs was a completely different thing, and it was a completely different lifestyle than what he thought it would be, and that he fell in love with it when he was 17 because the cooks that he met when he was a dishwasher looked like the coolest people in the world, and he just wanted to be them. And that's what he did. And that when he was training, like, cooking school was for losers. Cooking school was like not this illustrious thing that it is today. He does a whole episode on one of his shows. I can't remember which one. He has like a half a dozen shows where he goes back to the cooking institute where he was taught how to make everything. And now cooking is such this like high class thing. It's such this professional thing that everybody wants to be. But he remembers that like when he went there, it was a lot easier to get into because nobody wanted to go. Nobody wanted to be a professional chef. But when he got in and when him and all of his colleagues were in, it was life. It was everything to them. And it was in that episode he goes over like there's a class just about making broth. Just your base. Yeah. Like that's it. You're going to spend the next 4 to 8 hours just making broth. That's it. Cuz if you fuck up your broth, you fucked everything else up because it is the first component in what you're making. Why are you kissing your microphone? Am I talking for too long?
No. Oh, yeah, I should. That's my cue, right?
Is your cue? Your cue is to kiss your microphone?
Well, I guess that's your cue. No, I don't know.
I'm just saying that like it's.
I don't know what I was doing.
To me, like now that you mentioned, like it's a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you make a high tension drama in a kitchen for a show?
No, and see, that's where you're wrong. They did, and it's called Ratatouille.
They didn't. That's not what. Ratatouille's about a rat that wants to cook. Jesus.
Yeah, but he cooks in a kitchen, and you see a lot of the kitchen.
Oh my god.
That was a great movie, though. But no, you do remind me a lot of some of the greatest parts of the show, which is learning about that culture, about the staff, these people who work in a kitchen. And I learned a couple of things. I didn't look into them. I didn't like do the research, but I'm assuming it's a real thing because I've heard of this over time. The that one chef who comes in, this girl Sydney, who is also a really well trained chef who comes to work with Carmi. She comes in, and the very first day, and they're still floundering. You know, everything. It was the first or second episode, so the restaurant still isn't doing well. They're still Carmi's just trying to get any of his shit together. Yeah. And this girl comes in, and she wants to work with him, and she's like, "Okay, can you handle?" I forget the lines, but something about family style. And there's this thing where before the restaurant opens, because they've been prepping for hours, they start early in the morning at like 6 or 7 in the morning, and they're prepping all the food. And then as soon as the sandwich shop opens, then they're actually selling the food, but it requires a lot of prep. So what they do is the chefs come in and they're cooking their food. But I guess at some point there's enough time before the restaurant opens, they cook a whole separate meal. Someone cooks a whole separate meal for the whole staff to eat. Yeah. And this chef Sydney comes in and she helps and cooks something for them the first time she comes in. And it turned out great because obviously she knows what she's doing. She's able to cook a lot, but it just seems so interesting. This kitchen that was just so hectic a second ago, they all stop. The chefs, the owner, the dishwashers, they all come over and they're all just sharing this meal. They're all eating before the restaurant actually opens, and it's none of the food that they sell at the restaurant. It was this completely separate meal that gets made. I'm assuming because actually I don't know the reason, but I'm assuming it's because these are chefs. They're people who know how to cook. They don't have time to cook to go get their own lunch, a sad little sandwich. Yeah, or a little thing of soup or whatever. They will. It's a kitchen. It's a functioning kitchen. They cook something, and that way they have a meal to give to all these people who are working all day long. Yeah. And my dad actually used to work. He's an accountant, or he was a controller for a pretty nice steakhouse in San Francisco for a while. And even though he worked the accounting side, he also got to benefit. He saw some of that. The chefs would just prepare the employees of the whole kitchen a meal all the time. Like every day, there was an option for them to have a really nice meal prepared aside from just the actual working of the kitchen, like serving customers. So I guess it's a thing, but it's just so interesting to see. And I'm guessing Anthony Bourdain he touches on that kind of stuff a lot because he's picking up on the culture of these really fancy kitchens, or even just any kitchen at all, just places that have really good food. It's just there's a whole piece of culture to it that nobody ever sees, which I think makes this show pretty interesting.
Yeah, because I didn't watch that much Anthony Bourdain, but I did. I don't think he covered that in the episode I saw where he covered specifically like his own like his entire day at a restaurant as a head chef. You know, like he goes from like it's like a 12 to 14 hour shift, right? And it's
Yeah.
despite like because he's a head chef, right? It's like 12 to 14 hours of work, and then he's still gonna go get drunk anyway, sleep for 3 hours, and then come back the next day. But like when he's drinking with other chefs, other head chefs from other restaurants, and then they're just talking shit and comparing notes, and they're all getting food from other places and shooting the shit, and then again, 3 hours, 5 hours later, they have to go back and do it again, every fucking day, and it's just like, it's a ridiculous amount of work, and it's a crazy fucking lifestyle, but you're right, it's a great window into what else can you call it other than a lifestyle? Because like that's what it is. It's not just a profession.
It's an in it's a piece of life that's just such an obvious thing. It's just something that's so involved with every single living person because we all know food, even if it's just a sad piece of bread and cheese for your dinner.
Yeah.
At some point, you're at least aware of really good food, or just even your local sandwich shop down the street.
Yeah.
There's just so much more that goes into that. It's a whole lifestyle for these people because for some people it's just a day job, but yeah, you work really long hours and I guess you benefit from it though, because people obviously do this and this is their entire career.
Yeah.
And I guess you get a lot of that, because the whole time in The Bear, the sister comes in and it's not just her, but there's others. The guy who owes money or that has lent money to the business comes in and he's like, hey, yeah, you owe a shit ton of money to me. Why don't you just sell me the place and we'll figure it out. We'll call it even, kind of thing. Like, people keep telling him it's just a shitty sandwich shop. Your brother Mikey, he was running it and great, and it was a family business, but it's just, he's gone. Just sell it. People constantly try to tell him to sell it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess it was just, it holds such an important place to him emotionally. He grew up with his family kind of the kitchen, this restaurant, being the center of a lot of the family, but he specifically wasn't involved. I guess the brother just didn't want him there. And I think, if anything, that's actually why he became a professional chef, was because he wanted to be involved in food. Just as a kid, he was told he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
A lot of emotional turmoil there, but
yeah,
it makes for one hell of a story.
Yeah, I know. I fucking love cooking.
I haven't seen the menu, but I get kind of similar vibes. Obviously, that's much more like murder, thriller,
that's
mystery
like
thing, but it is made with the same attraction of fine dining, of a really professional kitchen, and the kind of people who run it. Ray Fiennes being what is he called? The head chef?
I think he is the head chef. Yeah, he's the head chef, but it's all like a plot to murder all of the people there, because they're all of the people he hates. Like,
right.
all
Wait,
of them
have you seen it?
No, I'm just familiar with the premise. Again, like I like food stuff, right? I like food shows, right? So I know a little bit about the premise of that, which is like, when you go over, like if you look at the movie posters, right? Like a lot of the cast members, they have different titles, right? Like John Leguizamo plays like the movie star, right? And then in interviews, he's like, yeah, I based my character off Steven Seagal because he's a horrible human. And it's so you know
Oh
like
man.
why he was invited. Like if this is a plot to murder everybody there, like everybody there, right, is somebody that this chef hates. Like this
Right.
chef and the staff absolutely hate them, and they're out for. This is like, I'm guessing a revenge tale, because I don't know if you've seen the movie Chef. Have you seen Chef?
Oh yeah, I have.
So yeah, it was that. That was a whole other
I think we've
fucking.
talked about it. It's and I
Have we?
heard a review of it. Yeah. Well, no, just briefly. Not
Yeah.
not in a full like hour
Episode.
long
Yeah.
kind of discussion, but
Mm-hmm.
I kind of sum it up as this other review I once heard about it, which is just basically
Mm-hmm.
John Favreau's ego.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
he's married. His ex-wife is Sofia Vergara,
Yeah.
and his like assistant is Scarlett Johansson,
Yeah.
and who else is in it? There's just he gets his pick of all the like beautiful women in Hollywood that he's worked with, and he just
course.
throws them all in a movie together where he's the lead.
Or he's the lead. But also, let's not forget that like his ex-wife's other ex-husband is Robert Downey Jr. And
Oh,
so
really?
like that comes into play. Like him having to go to
so
him.
the third beautiful woman in his life.
Yes, Robert Downey Jr. Him having to go to Robert Downey Jr. and sort of like relinquish his pride and ask for a loan, ask for help
Yeah.
to get started back up again. That movie though is mostly about emotional baggage and
Well,
like
yeah.
the stress of being a chef, right? Because he's a head chef. The head chefs are just an interesting character. John Leguizamo also in that movie.
I was gonna say John Leguizamo. Do you mean Mr. Scrooge?
I do mean Mr. Scrooge. Violent Night, great movie. Everyone watch it. Oh my god, I don't
That
know
was
if we
a
have
good
to
movie.
talk about it or do a separate thing to promote that movie because I want people to watch that movie now. Anyway,
I was gonna say it's what? It's 4 days till Christmas
4 days till Christmas. There's still
as
time.
of recording.
There's still
No, but
time.
I'm saying this would have been the episode we could have talked about something Christmassy, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Merry Christmas, everybody, if
Merry-
you celebrate that.
Merry Christmas.
If not, I was gonna be mean, but no, happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays. But
Yeah.
back on point. What was my point? when I
Chef
brought
was a
up
good
Chef?
movie. It's just a little too much John Favreau for me.
It's
you
a
know?
lot of Jon Favreau, but that movie's actually like technically a re-coming of age story, like a man's midlife crisis wrapped up. The first half is like his midlife crisis and how that ruins his life, and how as he's picking up the pieces of his life, he has to sort of like redefine his relationship with his son, because he's just painfully unaware that his son wants to be involved in his life.
Right.
Like that's a whole thing, right? So there you have a little bit of the, but it's nowhere near as there's suspenseful and like full of tension, you know. Chef is very much, but anyway, so like I think the reason why I brought up Chef is because like one review, right, pisses him off so much, right, that he causes him to have a meltdown and get himself fired from his job, and then move on to other places. And thus, his emotional journey really begins. Yada yada yada. But yeah, like the menu is all. It's gonna be. It's. I think the pun there is like who's on the menu, right? The food blogger, the food
Yeah.
influencer, the movie star. I'm not as sure who else. What other caricatures are in it? But I think it's. I'm confident this chef and his staff just want to murder all of these people, because all of these people, I'm confident, have shit on them, like publicly, through one way or another, right? Like that's how you get like all those people to agree with it. I don't know how else. I also need to see
Yeah.
Pig with Nicolas Cage. Have you heard of Pig?
Oh, yeah. Well, I heard of it, but I forget everything about it.
So I think I heard what the twist ending is. But basically the premise is that this
I googled pig,
uh-huh
and the first one is the Wikipedia page for The animal pig.
Yes, of course it is. You got
I don't know what
pig movie. Or
I
the
don't know
movie
what I
Pig.
expected.
Anyway.
Sus domesticus.
Oh
Pig.
my God. Oh my.
The pig, often called swine.
So Pig.
It's
stars
just a bunch
Nicolas
of
Cage.
pictures of pigs.
Of course, there are pictures of pigs.
Ooh, there's a feral pig.
Oh
What's
my
that?
God. I don't want to know what a feral pig is. Anyway, so Nicolas Cage, he's like a famous chef, right? Who's reclusive. He's a hermit in the woods, and his prize truffle pig goes missing.
Not his truffle pig.
His prize truffle pig goes missing, right? And it's a very darkly lit movie. It's a very serious movie, right? It sounds like the premise of a comedy. One man lost his pig. Like, it's fucking
Dude, where's my pig?
Dude, where's my pig, bro? But like, there's this really good scene from the movie that's been going around Instagram, at least on my feed, where Nicolas Cage, he's just talking to this chef, right? Talking to this chef about how, like, why are you doing this? Why, like, they don't love you. They don't know who you are, right? You're just serving these people who don't care about you. And stuff like this emotional, like, he's this guy who lived it. He was a head chef. He was a professional chef. He was famous. And then he figured out that it was all pointless, and he decided to move to the woods, and he has this truffle pig, right? And this truffle pig is, everybody assumes, is how he, like, you know, makes money and stays, you know, financially secure. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think someone spoiled it because I was watching.
Well, don't you spoil it.
Well,
We don't spoil here.
Can I spoil it, please?
No.
Anyway, the pig is important, right? The pig is important. It's his prized truffle pig. But the truffles don't make the pig important. That's the spoiler, okay?
You're welcome, listener. I stopped him from spoiling.
Oh my God. All right, the pig is more important than the truffles, okay? And then that's the heart of the movie, okay?
He loves his pig.
He loves his pig. He wants his pig back. I don't know anything else about the movie. I need to watch it still, but I heard it's great. Like, it's one of Nicolas Cage's, like, best things he's done. You know, it's
what
in
light
Unbearable
of
Weight of Massive Talent. Yes, that's also one of the best things he's done, apparently. I need to see both these movies. These movies came out in the same year. Nicolas Cage just decides, they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do totally bonkers comedy and Oscar-nominated gold in 1 year. Just throw it out there.
Honestly, that seems kind of on brand.
It is very on brand for him. He can do it all. Well, he can do those two things.
Oh,
which
no,
are just the extremes.
He can do plenty of things in between as well.
He can do anything. He was almost Superman. You know? He was almost Superman.
I'm aware of that too.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Con Air has got to be right in the middle of those two, though.
No, Con Air is absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It's a great movie. It's a plane full of convicts.
It makes no sense.
Neither does Nick Cage's Superman.
No, it doesn't. All right? It was a weird time. It was the 90s.
That's
all right?
Time.
Con Air, Face Off. Jesus, what kind of movie was Face Off?
I don't know what that is.
Oh my God. I need John Travolta to come back too. Okay?
I don't know.
I need him to come back. He can do it all too. I don't know what's happening with him. Did you see The People versus OJ? Did you?
No, but I did see Hairspray.
See, that's exactly what I mean. The man can do Hairspray and The People versus OJ. All right.
And yet, all I can think of is the meme, the GIF of him from Pulp Fiction, where he's just
confused. And the man is a meme. The man is a meme as well, right?
He is a meme.
He could do it all. We need to bring back John Travolta.
Have you seen Hannibal?
The show?
Yeah.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
because that also I feel like is worth mentioning when talking about the bear.
Because all the cooking Hannibal does.
Yeah.
All of
Well, I don't mean that as a joke.
No,
I mean,
I
obviously he
understand.
does do a
Yeah.
lot of cooking, but yeah, I think I saw some random fact about it. The episodes of most, if not all, of the episodes of that show are all named after dishes, like really fine dining level dishes.
Yeah.
And each season is like of a certain culture, like a certain ethnic cuisine. But yeah, a lot of the show is obviously the struggle between Hannibal and the main character, the guy,
Will something. I think his name
yeah,
is
the
Will.
guy who works with the FBI or whatever.
Special Agent Will something.
Special Agent Will. But yeah,
Special Agent Will.
but all the while, Hannibal Lecter, very successful therapist and psychotherapist and,
Yeah.
eater of people, is eating people, and they show him doing a lot of cooking.
Oh yeah.
And he really gets into it, and it's a whole thing about how he's so into food, and he hasn't been caught, and people are on his tail, but they don't suspect him at all, and he's still getting away with it. And they show him eat a lot of people, and he makes it look really good.
Jesus.
I've never wanted to eat people more than when I'm watching Hannibal.
I think that was very interesting. I think that show was also on Fox, right? Hannibal.
I think
I think that was on Fox. I think Fox.
I didn't see the whole show, but I think I saw the first 2, 3, maybe 4 seasons.
Ooh, that show went on longer than I remember. But
I feel like how long did it go?
yeah. Did you ever watch?
I
The
think
Following?
it only. What's the what?
The Following. Did you ever watch that?
I don't think so.
Stars Kevin Bacon. And
Kevin Bacon.
And he plays a FBI agent who's hunting a cult leader. And I forget what the cult is doing that's so bad, but it was a good show. I don't remember anything about it other than the fact that it was a very good show and I was very into it.
Oh. It only
Kevin
had
Bacon
3
was there.
seasons.
3 seasons.
So I must have only seen the first 2 because I don't think I saw the last one
Of Hannibal.
of Hannibal. But it was pretty good from what I remember. But no, I didn't see The Following. But is there food involved in The Following?
No, it was just a really good show. Like,
Then why the hell are you bringing it up, Josh?
Because they made good shows back then. Fox made good shows. It was just a thing they did. They were for some reason they're really upset. Like they wanted to be the HBO of basic cable, FX.
Hannibal was an NBC show.
Hannibal was an NBC show. Oh, I forgot. I don't know why I thought it was FX. Don't
Yeah,
know.
it seems more like it would be, but yeah, I guess not. It really was just NBC.
And besides,
Nobody talks about NBC except for their comedies.
NBC. Yeah. I don't know. New Girl was on Fox.
New Girl is on Fox.
New
So
Girl's
is
on
Glee.
Fox.
So was Brooklyn
Glee.
Nine-Nine.
Yeah. Love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I hated Glee. I hated how into it I was for the first season. For the first season, I was just like, this is good. And then I got sick of it. I just got ugh.
Yeah, I get that, but apparently, and I'm learning more about this every year. But my fiance, her personality, her identity, was so heavily shaped by
Glee,
musical TV, and like musical theater.
Yeah,
mostly music because she's just big on like concerts and musicians, but a show like Glee was just right up her alley. She was right in the middle of that perfect like liminal age where she just soaked it all up. Yeah. And yeah, so we recently rewatched the whole series, mostly for her. Like it was just her putting it on. But then if I happened to be free, I'd watch it, and I ended up watching a lot of it with her. And yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's a soap opera for sure, but yeah, definitely really good.
Especially the first season.
Yeah, super soapy. There's the whole like girl
Super soapy.
super soapy. There's a girl who got pregnant because she cheated on her boyfriend. Then there's a woman who wants to be pregnant, but then it turns out she has a pseudo fake pregnancy because it's all in her mind. It's crazy. I'm not making that up. That's the part of the plot.
That chick was crazy.
That chick was crazy. Whatever happened to that baby? I never watched it that far. Yeah, what happened?
Do you
to
want
that
me
baby?
to tell you?
Yeah, tell me what happened to the baby.
The Rachel's mom, her biological mom, shows up because she's the coach of a competing glee team at another school, and turns out she's always wanted a baby because she regretted giving away Rachel when she was a
Rachel?
baby. She's like basically the main character.
Oh, the main girl, the brunette.
The main girl, yeah. She's the diva, the most annoying diva in the Glee Club. The one who's so set on being a star. Great singing voice, but yeah, she's a lot. Yeah. But yeah, her biological mom shows up, turns out she's always wanted to have a baby ever since she gave away Rachel, and then offers to take the baby that Quinn and Puck are unable to take care of because they're high school students.
Because they're high school students, yes. Puck being
how the hell did this turn into Glee talk?
I don't know how this turned into Glee talk. I'm just saying, Glee was weird. It was a soap opera. It was totally a soap opera.
It served its purpose.
It served its purpose on Fox.
I don't know. What is this character you're doing? What is this voice?
It's Tim Gunn. I don't know.
I was trying to nail it down, and you're right. No, that's not a bad Tim Gunn, but I was thinking like, what is it? Yeah, no, your voice is a little deep for his.
It's a little deep. I don't think I'm nailing it. I think I need to watch.
It's pretty good though. Now that you mention it, I get it.
Because I don't think I've ever seen the show. I've never seen the show.
Now do Tyra Banks. Go ahead.
I can't do Tyra Banks. I don't know what she sounds like. I don't remember. She just sounds like a woman. Like, that's it.
That seems pretty reductive.
It is very reductive. I don't remember what she sounds like. I've seen her. I've seen her in that one movie where she's a Barbie doll turned to life, and that was it. I think that was a Disney Channel movie. I don't remember.
Tyra Banks, I know you're listening to this, and let me tell you, we value you more than your ability to sound like a woman.
Yes. She sounds, from what I remember, like a more youthful Oprah. I don't know. Okay? I don't remember.
Okay.
That's just the image in my mind. There's no sound of her voice saved in my memory banks. God. Anyway, should we call it here? Yeah.
Yeah. I hope we've convinced you
to watch Glee.
God. If you haven't, honestly, give it a try.
Give it a try.
Really did. It really was something phenomenal. When it first started out.
It's a musical show, but I respected it because they didn't randomly go into song and dance. They only sang as part of their actual club. Like, they had a narrative reason for singing.
They fit it in pretty organically.
Yeah.
But it was about a Glee club in a high school, so yeah, it made sense they would be singing all the time. Other than that, though, the story is pretty compelling. You know, it's goofy, it's all over the place, but the characters are so out there. You really get invested. It was a decent show, but that's not what we were talking about today.
We were talking about The Bear.
The Bear is a fantastic show. I loved it. Honestly, I think you'd get a lot out of it, Josh. You should give it a try if you have a chance. Just watch an episode.
I'll watch it later. Yeah. I'm watching New Girl.
No, that's fine. Are
you gonna watch The Whale?
This isn't doable, Josh.
What?
We can't have a show where we convince each other to watch a new TV show or a new movie every week. It's there's just so many things piling up. It's just not gonna happen.
You've just figured out now that this is unsustainable. That we'll never actually watch any of the things we've recommended.
Yeah, but at least we have a record of what we think of it.
Yeah.
If we ever mention to someone else we know, it's like, hey, oh yeah, that show. I have a podcast. I talked about that for an episode. But yeah, The Bear is very good. So if you ever get the chance to, maybe you should check it out if you're not watching New Girl. But for anyone out there, if you're thinking about it, I know it was mentioned when it first came out, and I feel like it did okay. But yeah, I feel like it fell to the wayside, which is why I chose it as my content this week. So it's on Hulu.
Many shows. There's so many shows.
There are. It's on. This one's on Hulu though. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's anywhere else. I guess FX could be on TV.
For some reason, Hulu does not work on my computer. I have to watch it on this TV over here, which then takes me farther away.
What a shame. You have to watch TV on a TV screen.
It's so weird. Ugh. Anyway, that's the podcast.
Watch The Bear. It's on Hulu, but get it wherever you can.
Get it wherever you can, folks. Wherever you can.
It's Christmas time. We're busy, but we keep developing this. Please follow us. Please watch or listen to this. Check out what, if anyone has said anything, Justin, on the Discord, or I'll make a Twitter and he has to tweet on there.
Yeah.
Well, he can't tweet. He would respond to a tweet.
I would respond to a tweet in the replies.
But yeah, this has been Consume Content, where we help you consume content. We hope you'll consume this content. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.